I first saw Rachel on a crisp autumn morning in New York. The old bookstore on West 82nd Street was my sanctuary. Creaky wooden floors and leather-bound books created a perfect escape. I was searching for a birthday gift for my mother. That's when I noticed her. Rachel stood in the travel section, her elegant fingers tracing the spine of a Paris photography book. She wore a camel-colored trench coat that seemed to belong in a French film. Her dark hair was styled in that effortlessly messy way that probably took hours to perfect. I couldn't help but stare. She caught me looking and smiled. "Looking for something specific or just browsing?" she asked. Her voice carried a hint of playfulness. I fumbled with my words, suddenly feeling like a teenager. "Gift for my mom," I managed to say, "but I'm open to suggestions." Rachel's eyes lit up. "Well, as a marketing executive, I'd say presentation is everything." She walked over, her heels clicking softly on the wooden floor. "Show me what you've got in mind." We spent the next hour discussing books. Rachel had opinions about everything, from classic literature to modern photography collections. She spoke with such passion and confidence. I learned she worked for a top advertising agency. Her job involved crafting narratives for luxury brands. "Everything is about the story you tell," she said. I told her I was a journalist. "CNN?" she asked, clearly impressed. "Not yet." I laughed. "But I'm working my way up." We ended up getting coffee at the small cafe next door. Rachel ordered an oat milk latte with precise specifications. I couldn't take my eyes off her. She had this way of making everything seem sophisticated. Even the way she stirred her coffee was graceful. We talked for hours about our dreams, our careers, our views on life. Rachel wanted to revolutionize digital marketing. She spoke about brands and influence with fierce ambition. I shared my dream of becoming a war correspondent. "That's fascinating," she said, leaning forward. "Tell me more about the dangers, the excitement." Her interest seemed genuine. Though looking back, I should have noticed how her eyes lit up when I mentioned the potential salary of top correspondents. But I was too captivated to see the signs. We exchanged numbers before parting ways. I texted her that evening. She responded immediately. Our first official date was at a rooftop bar in Manhattan. Rachel wore a black dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. She knew the bartender by name, ordered drinks I'd never heard of, made me feel like I'd stepped into a different world. A world of sophistication and luxury, one I'd never really cared about before. But Rachel made it seem appealing. She had that effect on everything. The next few months were a whirlwind. Rachel introduced me to fine dining. Art galleries I'd walked past but never entered. Designer stores where she was treated like RO. Yalti. I watched her charm everyone we met, from waiters to CEOs at charity events. She had a gift for making people feel special, while simultaneously making them want to impress her. I was no exception. I found myself working harder at my career, pitching more stories, taking on riskier assignments, anything to match her ambition. Rachel encouraged every step. "You're meant for bigger things," she'd say. "I can see you on CNN, reporting from conflict zones." Her faith in me was intoxicating. 6 months into dating, I noticed the first red flag. We were walking through the Upper East Side, passing multi-million-dollar townhouses. Rachel stopped to admire one. "Imagine living here," she sighed. "The space, the prestige." I joked about needing to win a Pulitzer first. She didn't laugh. Instead, she gave me a calculating look. "You could do it, you know. With the right connections, the right career moves." Her tone was different, more strategic than supportive. But I brushed it off, convinced myself it was just ambition. Our relationship intensified. Rachel practically moved into my modest apartment, though she kept her luxurious studio downtown. "For work emergencies," she explained. I didn't question it, just like I didn't question her expensive tastes or her growing interest in my career prospects. We got engaged after 2 years. I proposed in that same bookstore where we met. Rachel cried when I gave her the ring. though later I caught her Googling its value. The wedding planning revealed more of Rachel's true nature. She insisted on a high-end venue, designer dress, top shelf, everything. My savings were depleted, but Rachel said it was an investment. First impressions matter, she insisted. These people could be valuable connections. The wedding was picture perfect. Rachel made sure every detail was Instagram worthy. She glowed as she walked down the aisle. I thought I'd never been happier. Our honeymoon in the Maldives was her choice. We deserve luxury, she said. I maxed out 2 credit cards to make it happen. Rachel posted every moment on social media. Her following grew with each carefully curated photo. She was building her brand. She explained, I was proud of her success, blind to the cost. We settled in a married life. Rachel's career in marketing soared. She specialized in luxury brand partnerships. Her Instagram influence grew. I continued chasing my dreams of becoming a war correspondent. Then came the call that changed everything. CNN wanted me as their international correspondent. The salary was beyond anything I'd imagined. Rachel's reaction was telling. She didn't ask about the dangers or the long separations we'd face. Instead, she immediately started planning. We can finally upgrade our lifestyle, she said. Get that apartment I showed you. Her eyes sparkled with possibilities, all involving money. I was too excited to notice. 2C, caught up in my own achievement. The first assignment was in Syria. Rachel helped me pack, bought me expensive gear. My brave journalist, she called me, but her focus was on my new salary, the prestige of my position, the doors it would open for us. I left for Syria with a heavy heart, missing Rachel already, not knowing she had other plans, plans that would destroy everything we built. But that revelation was still to come. For now, I was living my dream, reporting from conflict zones, while my beautiful wife waited at home, or so I thought. The first few months of separation were hard. Rachel and I video called daily. She seemed supportive, always asking about my stories, my safety. But gradually, things changed. Her calls became shorter, more focused on money matters. She talked about renovating our apartment, buying new furniture, joining exclusive clubs. I noticed our savings dwindling. But Rachel always had explanations. Investments in our future, she'd say. You want me to look good for your CNN events, right? I trusted her completely. That was my biggest mistake. The war zone changed me in ways I couldn't explain. Each day brought new horrors, new stories of loss and survival. I saw children pulled from rubble, families torn apart by bombs. My reports won awards, but the cost was heavy. I became quieter, more introspective. Rachel noticed the change. You're different, she said during one call. Her voice held an edge of accusation. I tried to explain what I'd seen, the weight I carried, but Rachel seemed distant, more interested in her Instagram following, her latest brand partnerships. During my brief visits home, I noticed other changes too. Designer bags I didn't recognize, new jewelry she couldn't explain. Our credit card statements showed lavish spending at restaurants I'd never heard of. For 2 people, not one. But I was too exhausted to question, too preoccupied with my next assignment. Then came that unexpected trip home, between assignments in Syria and Ukraine. I wanted to surprise Rachel, bought her favorite pastries, even picked up flowers. Our apartment was quiet when I arrived, but I heard voices from upstairs. Rachel's laugh, musical and flirtatious, and a man's voice I didn't recognize. My heart stopped. The den door was partially open. Rachel stood there with him, tall, muscular, probably mid-30s. His shirt was untucked, pants partially unbuttoned. They jumped apart when I pushed the door. Evan. Rachel's voice was too high. You're home early. She recovered quickly. This is Brad from work. But I knew there was no Brad at her agency. The lies began to unravel. One by one, I stayed at my friend Mike's place that night. Mike, a fellow journalist, sensed something wrong. Let me do some digging, he offered. His investigation revealed everything. Brad wasn't a coworker. He was a personal trainer. Rachel had been seeing him for months, while I was risking my life in war zones. But that wasn't the worst part. Rachel had been systematically draining our accounts, transferring money to private accounts, buying gifts for Brad, designer clothes, an expensive watch, even a down payment on a car. She'd been planning her exit while playing the devoted wife. Mike found more. Rachel had started a blog, painting herself as a neglected wife, claiming I was emotionally distant, traumatized from war, potentially dangerous. She was building a narrative, setting the stage for divorce. My world collapsed. Everything I believed about our marriage, about Rachel, was a carefully constructed lie. I confronted her with the evidence. She didn't deny it. Instead, she attacked. What did you expect? You were never here, always chasing stories in war zones, while I was alone, building my brand. Her words revealed her true nature. Cold, calculating, manipulative. The warm, supportive wife was gone, replaced by a stranger, a woman who saw me as a stepping stone to the lifestyle she craved. The divorce was ugly. Rachel hired expensive lawyers, tried to claim emotional abuse, used her blog to gather sympathy. But Mike and other journalists fought back. They exposed her affair, her financial manipulation, the calculated nature of her deception. Her carefully crafted image crumbled. Followers turned against her. Brand partnerships disappeared. Even Brad vanished. When the money stopped flowing, the court proceedings were brutal. Rachel played the victim card, crying on the stand, claiming PTSD from my neglect. But the evidence was overwhelming. Bank statements, photos with Brad, witness testimonies. The judge saw through her act. I was awarded most of our assets. Rachel's manipulations had backfired. Her reputation was in tatters. Her influencer career destroyed. She left New York shortly after, moved to Los Angeles, still posting carefully curated photos, still searching for her next mark. I threw myself into therapy, trying to understand how I'd been so blind. Dr. Thompson helped me see the patterns, the red flags I'd ignored, the subtle manipulation, the focus on money and status. The way Rachel had shaped my perceptions made me doubt my own instincts. Slowly, I began to heal, found my voice again as a journalist, covered stories that mattered, not for the salary, but for the truth they revealed. Then I met Sarah, a war photographer with honest eyes and a genuine passion for storytelling. She didn't care about designer labels or Instagram followers, just the truth behind her lens. We connected over shared experiences, understanding the weight of witness, the cost of telling difficult stories. Sarah never asked about my bank balance or my CNN salary. She just listened, understood, supported without agenda. With her, I learned to trust again, to recognize authentic connection, to value substance over style. Rachel's betrayal had taught me painful lessons about love, trust, and perception, about the difference between image and reality. Lessons I carried into war zones and into my new life with someone who saw me, not my potential, not my salary, just me. The scars remained, but they no longer defined me. I was stronger now, more aware, more grateful for genuine connection, the kind that couldn't be measured in followers or dollar signs, the kind that sustained me through the darkness of war zones and the aftermath of betrayal. I had found my truth beyond the carefully curated lies, beyond Rachel's manipulation, in the raw, honest stories I was meant to tell. Sarah taught me to see beauty in imperfection. Through her camera lens, she captured truth, not the filtered reality Rachel had preferred, but the raw, honest moments that made life real. Our relationship grew naturally. No pressure, no hidden agendas. Just two people sharing their stories, understanding each other's shadows. I continued my work as a war correspondent, but now with clearer purpose. Sarah often joined me on assignments, her photographs complementing my words. We documented conflicts together, shared the burden of bearing witness, supported each other through nightmares, and celebrated small victories. One evening in Baghdad, after covering a particularly difficult story, Sarah showed me her latest photographs. "Look at their eyes," she said. "Even in darkness, there's hope." That's when I knew I loved her, not for what she could be, but for who she was. Meanwhile, Rachel's story took different turns. Through mutual friends, I heard updates. She tried to rebuild her influence in LA, but her past followed her. The internet never forgets. Her carefully crafted victim narrative had unraveled completely. Brad, the personal trainer, gave an interview, exposed her calculated approach, how she'd planned everything. While I was dodging bullets in Syria, she'd been planning her exit strategy, buying his affection with my money, promising him a lifestyle she couldn't deliver. Rachel's response was predictable. More social media posts, more attempts at damage control. But her followers had grown wise. They saw through the perfect filters, the staged photographs, the manufactured emotions. Her influence continued to decline. Brand deals disappeared. Her marketing career stalled. The luxury lifestyle she craved slipped further from her grasp. I felt no satisfaction in her downfall, only sadness for what could have been, and gratitude for my escape. Sarah helped me process these feelings. "Your compassion," she said, "even after everything. That's why I love you." We married in a simple ceremony. No social media announcements. No carefully curated photos. Just genuine joy shared with friends. Mike was my best man. He'd helped expose Rachel's lies. Now he celebrated my new beginning, with tears in his eyes. Our wedding photos, taken by Sarah's colleagues, captured real moments unfiltered. Laughter, tears, honest emotion. Everything Rachel's wedding had lacked. We honeymooned in conflict zones, not by choice, but by circumstance. Assignment called us to Ukraine. We wouldn't have it any other way. Between reporting on war, we found moments of peace. Small cafes in bombed-out cities, where life somehow continued. Sarah's camera captured it all. The resilience of the human spirit, the beauty amid destruction, the truth we both served. Years passed. Our bond grew stronger, built on shared experiences, mutual respect and understanding. No need for pretense or performance. We created a home together, filled with photographs and memories. Not designer furniture or status symbols, but items that told our story. Each assignment brought new challenges, but also deeper connection. We faced danger together, trusted each other completely. Sometimes news of Rachel surfaced. She'd moved again to Miami, still chasing that elusive dream of wealth and influence. Her Instagram followers dwindled. Her posts grew desperate, still trying to maintain the facade of a perfect life. But I no longer cared. My life had found its truth in Sarah's honest love, in the stories we told together. Our work won awards. Not that it mattered much. What mattered was the impact, the voices we amplified, the truths we revealed. One day, covering a protest in Cairo, Sarah turned to me and smiled. "We're exactly where we should be." I knew she was right. This was real success, not measured in dollars or followers, but in moments of truth, shared with someone genuine. Rachel had taught me about facades. Sarah showed me authenticity. One had nearly destroyed me. The other helped me rebuild. Now, years later, I understand the lesson. True love isn't about image. It's about seeing and being seen, about facing life's darkness together and finding light in unexpected places, about telling honest stories, even when they're difficult. Sarah and I continue our work, moving between war zones, documenting human struggle and human triumph. Our love grows stronger with each shared experience, each challenge faced together, each truth revealed. Rachel's betrayal, once devastating, now seems like a distant chapter, a harsh lesson learned about the price of perfection and the value of authenticity. Life isn't about curated moments or carefully filtered images. It's about raw, honest connection, about finding someone who sees you, all of you, and loves you anyway. That's what Sarah gave me, what Rachel never could: the freedom to be imperfect, to be real, to be myself, in war zones and in peace, in darkness and in light. Together, we tell stories that matter, not for fame or fortune, but because they're true. And in that truth, we found our happiness, our purpose, our peace, and